It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast. With Kyle.
Have yourself some lamb chops or anything tomorrow?
I don't know. I'm not sure what's on the menu. I know that I'm making mashed potatoes, though.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Hard to do. You gotta peel the potato and mash it.
Know why my mashed potatoes are now under attack.
Liven them up, or is it really just boil and mash?
I do a little garlic. A little garlic every now and then.
Don't get too much flavor.
And Steve.
Hello?
Hello, Brian Krause. How are you, sir?
Yes. Very well, sir. And yourself?
Good. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Yep. Well, it comes up as Steve and Kyle, so...
Now, here they are, two guys who are living in style, Steve and Kyle.
Once again, thank you, Melissa.
Oh,
The great Melissa Vaughn.
every time I hear that voice, it makes me feel so professional.
I know.
And I know we're not. Like, I know what we're doing here, obviously, is among the dumbest things ever. When you see, like, if you read the weekly recap of this and compare it to any other podcast, it's head-shakingly dumb. But
That's quite a term. Head-shakingly dumb.
it is. It's kind of one of those things. I think you have that, Stephen. You could probably think back to a moment where maybe you're reading, you see something, maybe it's kids doing something stupid, and you're just like shaking your head. You can't believe you're seeing it because we're old now.
Yeah.
You're staring down the barrel of your late 30s officially.
I am, hurts to say, staring down the barrel of my early 40s. Wait, is 40 still considered late 30s?
I think, we have a scientific way to figure this out.
May as well start off on the right foot and put that on the poll. Is 40 still considered your late 30s?
And I know we've had this discussion.
I feel like I know the direction this one's going to go. But
the thing is, we've had a poll like this before,
and I'm probably had it 4 times.
Yeah, because I think every time we mention you and your age and like approaching your birthday, it probably comes up like, no, Steve, you're mid 30s, not late 30s.
Yeah.
But here you are, man, staring down the barrel of actually 40.
What am I? I'm 6 weeks away.
Oh, you got any big
6
plans? Are you going to be, is Annette making you like a big cake with a hill on it and then you like tumbling over the side of it?
That would be fantastic. I'd be thrilled with that.
Annette, now I adore Annette, Steve. You know that.
Here it comes.
Is Annette a cake? Is Annette a cake maker? Or is Annette a cake buyer?
I'm sure she's made cakes before. But like we don't really do cakes, I guess. Okay. Now that I think about it, I mean, I love cake, and I'm sure she loves cake too. But we don't. I don't think we've ever done like hey, it's your birthday, let's bake a cake.
Okay.
I think we're more of the like to celebrate with some ice cream or some kind of other dessert. Yeah, we don't really do cake that often.
Okay, that'll be on the poll as well. Do only terrorists hate cake?
I love cake.
No. This isn't personal to you. This isn't personal to you.
So this just triggered something.
Oh no! Dang it, Steve! I accidentally tagged you. I'm sorry. By the way, before I jump back into this, because I have an idea for a private social experiment for you and Annette now, Steve. Mm-hmm. I want to mention, apparently magic has happened. And if you want to vote on our polls, you can vote on them on Facebook now as well.
Hey, look at that.
We're back. I randomly shut one out over there this morning to see if it worked. And sure enough, it went through. And we're back in business. The Zuck, as I call him. He sent us a personalized email apologizing for the inconvenience.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And we're back in business.
That's good to know, man. That's good to know. The people have been waiting for months.
So you can find those polls again on Facebook and Twitter at Steve and Kyle.
Yeah.
So you guys aren't a cake family for birthdays and celebrations. So here's what I kind of want to see what would happen, Steve.
Okay.
You have 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And maybe once a week over the next 4 to 5 weeks, maybe mention in passing not directly that's going to be awkward, that would kind of raise Annette's ire, but just say, man, you know what sounds really good? Like a marble cake, maybe some chocolate frosting, and just be like, it's just been so long, and then walk away. I don't want it to become a conversation. I don't want it to become to where she's like, boy, that was really weird. Wait. Just like in passing.
Yeah, I mean, she would see right through that so quickly. She'd be like, you want me to make you a cake? Yeah. Fine, I'll make. What kind of cake do you want? I'll make you a cake.
Maybe just wear a shirt one day that has maybe use her Cricut and say, boy, I'd really love a cake for my birthday.
So instead of just asking her, I would have to craft a shirt.
Yeah. Using her technology. Actually, maybe just have her do it. And then if she asks you what it's for, just say it's something with the podcast.
Yeah, a friend of mine needed this. Okay. All right.
That's really weird, but sure enough, she'll still print it up for you. It's I would just like to see the outcome of that and see if maybe kind of subtly you can make her make you a cake.
Yeah. She would, if I said to her, hey, I would love for you to make me a cake, she would absolutely make me a cake. But I think I'm as much as I like cake, I mean, if you've never had one of the ice cream cakes that has the Oreo crumble in between the layers, the Carvel maybe, or
yes,
those are amazing. Those are absolutely amazing. So
they
you need
really
to get
are.
That's what I want. If
so
Annette
want Annette to make you an ice cream cake?
I mean, if she wants to, I think it's. I'm sure it's doable, right?
I can't say I've ever considered making one because I see in the grocery store the cost of them. So I'm assuming making them is insanely difficult.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it would be though. You take maybe get a round pan, a bundt cake pan type thing. Okay. Probably line it with some kind of wax paper. Stuff your ice cream in there. You melt your ice cream, let your ice cream sit out for maybe a half hour or so it's a little bit soft.
Oh boy, you're dancing. That's a dangerous game.
Pack it in there.
Dangerous game.
Pack it in there. Put it in the freezer. Do that for your 2 or 3 layers of various flavors, obviously. Put them back in the freezer for a couple of hours. Take them back out. Pop them out of those pans because you got your parchment paper or your wax paper that'll keep them from sticking in there. That's when you mash up all of your Oreos. Put them on top of one. Oh man, I'm gonna make one for the for our big charity show.
Oh, listen, I'd love to taste it. I'm not gonna turn it down, but rest assured, I will be giving you an honest review of your ice cream cake. With your 30-minute softening plan and your smushed Oreos. Listen, I think you're not even using those tasty videos that you see on social media. That kind of make everything seem a lot easier than it actually is.
I got a fantastic meatball recipe from one of them years ago. It was mozzarella stuffed meatballs. And it wasn't easy, but man, they were good. They were so good.
Yeah, but that's the problem with those is they all look delicious, but the videos make it seem like 10 minutes, a cinch.
Yeah, because they do those fast cuts where it's add this, add this, add this, add this. But what they don't account for is the 5 minutes of where the hell is my oregano, taking every spice out of the cabinet and then finding out that you have one flake of oregano left. And then it's, puree the whatever. And then I have to Google what does puree mean? And I have to turn on the stove and do this and do that.
And they don't show the cleanup. They don't show any of that. So you're in your mind thinking, boy, I'm going to have this exquisite, gourmet dish in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you don't realize you're 90 minutes in and their kitchen's a disaster. It's the most misleading videos on the internet.
Yeah.
And I say that as, the internet containing videos like loose change from 9/11. I would argue tasty cooking videos more misleading.
All right. So I think we're just a couple of minutes in, but it's we got to address the rhino in the rec room today. Yeah. That is why we are separate once again. You can probably hear from the audio quality. We are not in the same location. Once again, old COVID-19 has
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Sunk its talons in.
A lot of places seeing a downturn in cases, and hard to explain downturn in cases because it's a lot of the states that are saying, hey, forget any rules, back to normal. And yet here we are in the great state of Michigan.
God's country.
Where 9 out of the 10 biggest hot spots in America reside.
Yeah. Cool.
That's insane. That's an insane number.
I haven't looked. I've purposely not looked at any of that news, the maps, the hot spots. Are we actually in a hot spot?
Your work is, the county that you and I live in is not, but the neighboring county.
Free and clear then. Let's get together.
Yeah, don't go to work.
Get 50 friends. Let's hang out. We'll have a high five contest.
Yeah,
maybe a sneezing competition.
It's weird because the analogy I'm thinking of is kind of like it's a scene in Star Wars where the walls are closing in, like the trash compactor style thing, where it feels like we're racing with this vaccine now to beat those walls closing in as these cases just start flying through the roof. And we're just trying to all get to a certain percent vaccinated in order to, not have a total meltdown. So
yeah,
it's COVID issues out and about. So we decided to split up today, probably back together next week, I would assume.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully that works out. There have been some issues at my job. So
now you are good, Steve. You're okay.
As far as I know, we were supposed to obviously do the show on Friday, and a series of texts went down at like 3:45 or 4 a.m. Friday morning, and we made a last minute decision to do a best of show. And having been in the studio before, you know exactly what that's like, and I'm sure that you can attest to the stress. I hadn't even left my house yet, so I never did actually go in. Good. But Kelly was already in the studio and doing her normal routine, and then it was like with about 10 minutes before the show went live for the 5 a.m. hour, we made the decision. All right, let's scrap it for today. Man. And then by the end of the show, because she ran a best of show, and by the end of the show, the decision had already been made to scrap Monday as well. So we're not on the air. By the way, it is Sunday, April 11th, 2021, the year of our Lord, the Steve and Kyle podcast. By the time you're hearing this, if you listen to the side gig as well, you know that we were not on the air on Monday, the 12th.
Sure.
As tests are waiting on test results from certain people at the station. And so first thing I did Friday morning was opened up my MyChart app and found a testing location and went there 11:30 in the morning. I had a test. I had my results back by 11:30 that night, which was amazing. And mine were negative. So I'm going to get another test, I think either today or tomorrow or Tuesday, because they say that it could take 4 to 5 days after the exposure to the person that had it or may have it whatever, before I start exhibiting symptoms or test positive. So it's just like, what the hell, man. I'm going to be so pissed if I get it now, because I waited 13 freaking months, finally got my first shot a week and a half ago. And now I'm a week and a half away from my second one, which means I'm probably 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks away from my, all clear.
Yep.
Oh, I'll be so pissed. So pissed.
Man.
But luckily, as of right now, I feel perfectly fine. Annette does too. She got a test on Friday as well. Still doesn't have her results back yet. So
okay. So
it's just
the same time, and you got your results back, and she didn't.
Well, that's the thing. I went on my like I said, I signed up through my health provider on their app. They have all the locations that you can go to. So for mine, the closest location where I could get in that day was 45 minutes north of here.
Oh, for God's sake.
So that sucked. I'm like, oh crap. All right, whatever. Got to do it. Drove all the way up there. Well, on the way up there, me and the other members of the radio show texting back and forth, and everyone's like, oh, Rite Aid's got appointments in an hour, and we can go here, we can go there. And I'm like, man, I wish I hadn't wasted my time.
Right.
But So they, a lot of them did that. They're all still waiting on their results. I got mine. I had to drive 45 minutes, but I had my results 12 hours later. So I think it was worth the hassle, worth the drive. But Annette ended up going to a Rite Aid right around the corner, and she still doesn't have hers yet. So fingers crossed she has hers back today and everything's good. But yeah, this is just, man, this is real crappy.
Feels like the finish line is somewhat in sight, and then boom, that hammer drops on you. So
now, obviously, other people have it much worse, but
sure, absolutely, and it's not this weird, compare everybody's plight against one another, but it's just a bummer that we're at this stage, this far along in the game, still having this kind of numbers that don't look very good. So and so we decided, well, we are both okay. Steve, you tested negative. I'm not. I didn't have a test, but I am just. By the time this episode's released, I will be probably on my way to getting my second shot.
Nice.
So I didn't want to take any dance with the devil in terms of being ill beforehand, and then they tell you, well, you need to reschedule or whatever you need to do. So.
Honestly, I think
avoid that.
I think there's a good chance that I'm not back at the radio station for at least a week.
Wow.
I don't, even if everyone else is, I think I'm going to opt to, I can do it from here. I can do it from home. I would say 99% of the stuff I do on a regular basis, I can do remotely.
Okay.
And I think I might do that. So that's just a conversation I need to have with everyone else, who I know already will be in full support of that, because that's just how it's been all along. It's like, hey, if anyone feels unsafe, stay home. So
this is what I like to hear now, Steve, because we've been talking for a long time on this podcast about how we are constantly in the red.
Mm-hmm.
So should we come up with some company letterhead to invoice the radio show for using the podcast equipment for you to work? Or
technically this is not the because I'd be using the microphone I'm using right now is property of the radio station.
Okay, well, so then you could do us a little favor, maybe do a little swap ski on that microphone, use our microphone, and then for some reason you need to use the mixer as well.
Okay. And then I'm sure that we'll give them a very reasonable rate.
It's an hourly rate, and we'll definitely take into account friends and family. And then we'll take a look, we'll enter all of the corporate discount codes that we can find online to see if any of those qualify.
Yeah, we'll use our Honey app to get the best deal.
I don't think there's any reason we can't get their total bill down into the low four figures for them. For a couple days of usage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. So, happy to do it. Happy to do it.
Look, it's COVID.
People are in need.
Everybody's struggling.
We're here to help, and we have the equipment to do so.
So, due to this inconvenience, I thought it best that, I felt bad because our routine is thrown off.
Right.
The quality suffers a bit. Granted, we gain video, but, side note, if you're listening to this, you can also watch it on our YouTube channel this week. All of our episodes are up there every week, usually just as audio form. But with this, since we're on Zoom, figured may as well hit the record button and throw it up there as well. But we digress. Seeing as how our routine is thrown off, I can tell how inconvenienced you are right now. Sitting at home. I could hear little Reed banging on the door.
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. So, because he doesn't know I'm recording a podcast, why would he? He's 2.5 years old.
Look, kids are stupid. Kids don't even know what podcasts are.
So I'm in the basement, and I work down here as well. So there's a lot of days that Reed is home. When Katie is not working, Reed and Katie are home, and he'll do the same thing. He'll yell down the stairs, "Daddy, Daddy," until I give him some attention. So he was doing that now. So here's what's going to happen when this podcast ends. I'm going to have a conversation with my wife, because I had to send a text that it wasn't meant to come off as curt or unpleasant. It was just, I heard him yelling.
Maybe you can read. Can you do Did you send that text from your computer or from your phone?
No, just from my phone. I have my phone.
I was going to say, because look, we got screen sharing technology here with Zoom. It would be great to see what you said.
Yeah.
See how it came off.
So I just said, can you not have him shout, please, at me anyway?
Yeah.
Saying just, hey, I don't care. He said he's a child. He can run and yell, but he's aiming directly down the stairs. And there is, what I'm assuming is a paper thin door that you can hear a lot of the stuff through.
You got to go solid core doors, by the way, man. Come on.
Yeah, that door hasn't been
time to upgrade
since I moved in. Look, and it's
like $40 more per door to go solid core.
There's not a penny getting put into that door before I move from this house in a few years. And
You got the plans underway.
Oh, we've been talking about it for a while.
You're gonna move to the chateau here.
No, I can't afford the butler. I mean, for God's sake, I get the once over from the butler every time I try to get into the cul-de-sac on a weekly basis. So it's kind of nice to not have to get the
our butler
body search today.
Our butler makes $4 million a year
base.
That's base salary.
It's all the HOA dues.
Yeah, and I mean, by the time we throw him $100K each year at Christmas, and everybody else, you figure he's probably making $6-8 million.
Yeah, he's doing well for himself.
Very good.
No, that's a few years away after my wife is done with her extra schooling and everything. So I'm glad it's not now, because now I now walk around this house in the basement and see the storage room, and I'm like, oh God, I think I'm just going to pay a mover. I think I don't know what they do, but I'll at least discuss the packages of, hey, all of the stuff here to there. See you there, gang.
Having worked for a moving company for many years when I was in college, I can tell you two things. One, it's very expensive. Two, it is 100% worth it.
Yeah.
I think that when we moved into this house a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure that's my last move where I do as much work as I did.
Okay.
That was awesome.
And everybody does it, and it's always the same. Like, hey, get your friends and whoever to help. And it's like, after a while, you're to an age group where, man, it's not super reasonable, because it's inconvenient for anybody with a family or child. That's inconvenient for anybody who's over the age of 22, because their body is going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's something I'm going to be looking into when it comes.
Well, hell, when we moved in here, it was late. It was mid to late September. I think I want to say September 25th or something. Yeah. And which is the time of year where it should be, for about a week or two, you're probably experiencing not cool weather, but it's not 95 degrees anymore.
Sure.
And I swear the day that we moved, it was like 93 degrees and about 1,000% humidity. And it was miserable.
Yeah. And that's another thing.
You're miserable.
You're dancing with the weather gods. And you know what they say about Michigan, Steve.
Hey, I mean, look, it's snow season or construction
season. You gotta, like the weather, just wait a minute and then look at a construction barrel or something.
Yeah. No other place in the world. Weather change from time to time.
Just one of my most hated tropes about local communities ever.
I swear, every day when I'm driving to work, because the dashboard of my car, it says, 42 degrees. And then later in the day, it's 71 degrees. And every day I resist the urge to take a picture in the morning and then a picture in the afternoon and send them to you and say,
just wait a few hours.
You know how it is. But anyway, we digress again. So as a token of my appreciation for you being inconvenienced in the way that you are, I have a gift for you.
Oh, listen, you required me to walk to my basement. I restarted my laptop to hopefully not have audio issues like we have on the Zoom recordings in the past. So listen, I'm already half asleep from all the work I've had to do this morning. So I appreciate it, Steve.
So this is something that I know is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah.
As of I believe, 6-8 months ago. This is
like literally my heart.
Well, maybe, poor choice of words.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because 6-8 months ago would also be right around the time they were, inside my heart as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so close to your heart. No, I'm not giving you like a pacemaker or wires
good, because I would no offense, I would prefer one from a medical company.
Plus, you already got one. You don't need a backup.
Yeah, not one that you found like under a floorboard of your Jeep.
Hey, check it out. It's a pacemaker.
Oh, man. Kyle could use this.
So I dug deep down into my pocketbook.
Oh, wow.
And picked something up for you that I will present to you virtually right now. I know that is something that you love, that is near and dear to maybe not your heart, maybe your taste buds.
Okay.
Your stomach.
Boy. You have my attention.
It is a.
Oh!
Since you're a fancy. Did we determine that you're a bourbonite or bourboner?
No, of course. Leave it to the idiot on the Zoom to not know what to call me. It's Steve. Steve, I'm a bourbonite, and I'm on the bourbon boards, which is what we call them on the internet.
The boards.
The bourbon.
So
that's right. I'm going to be. I'm all over the burr boards a couple times a day, commenting, liking, judging
being snooty.
People. Of course, yeah. Nose high to the sky.
Yeah. So here it's a bottle of it's beer barrel bourbon.
Well, look at that, Steve! Outstanding.
Of course, an American white oak, distilled by a place local to us, New Holland Brewing.
Yes, yeah, a fantastic choice. Look at that.
And the point where I said I dug deep into my pocketbooks, that was a lie. This was on the free table at work.
What,
dude? Check this out. So I think it was New Year's Eve.
What workplace has a table with
exactly?
Hey, everybody, bring in your garage sale items that didn't sell and leave it on the free table.
Same place that has a kegerator where the sales manager sends out an email like 4 p.m. on a Friday saying, "Stop by, keg is tapped." And look, and I'm not some nerd prude or whatever, but isn't this a business? I mean,
right.
I get it that we, can't do happy hour really right now, but maybe let's try and be somewhat professional. And this is from the guy who works on the show that throws monkey poop around.
Right.
So if it's coming from me,
I feel like anytime a workplace does this, they're doing it for a reason. And sure, it's cynicism on my part, but I feel like it's all this weird effort to get those positive reviews on Glassdoor and Monster, Indeed. So people, they got a kegerator in the office? Like, that must be a fantastic place to work. And then you start working there and you realize the kegerator's rusted and dried out, hasn't been filled in 3 years. And
when it was filled with Miller Genuine Draft.
It was, and it wasn't filled by a keg. It was some guy dumping 8 outdated cans into it.
Using a screwdriver to push the little ball down on the top of the keg and then pouring an empty Busch Light in there. Yeah,
and the last person to actually take a drink out of it was written up. so it's there for show, entirely. So there's a free table.
There is. There's always been a free table at work throughout the various iterations of the office setup. And it was just the table where typically it ended up having CDs, those promotional CDs that get sent to radio stations all the time. They would end up on there, maybe a couple of leftover T-shirts from a recent promotion.
Okay.
That would also be where the birthday cake would be if it was somebody's birthday in the office. That would sit there.
Are you a big guy at the office? And apologies, but we talked about cake extensively this morning for some reason.
Yeah.
Are you a guy? So if you miss the birthday cake cutting for a coworker, are you the guy who you're showing up an hour later? You're like, yeah, I'll have some of that cake. Or are you leaving it alone?
Oh, absolutely. I don't.
You're
need
going
to be
for
there.
it afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
assuming you are too.
Yeah, and there's no question that I actually think that's the way I prefer it. I don't have to go through with the fake hey,
exactly,
happy 48th, Billy.
Yeah, we've all seen Office Space where everyone is just miserable.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Right.
I don't want to be there. I don't want anyone to ever sing me happy birthday.
Yeah,
I don't want to ever have to sing it to anyone else. I don't want to be in the room when it's being sung to somebody I don't know. Yeah. I hate when servers do it at restaurants.
Yeah. And listen, servers at restaurants hate it as well.
Yeah, of course.
There's no question. What is your cutoff? So let's say that cake gets cut on a Monday, 12 noon.
Yeah.
You go back in there Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Oh,
that cake's still there. You're eating it.
Yeah.
Uncovered?
Well, it makes a difference if the because normally they come in those cake boxes with the clear top.
Right.
If it's sealed, I think I'm going for it. If it's not sealed, I think I'm at least grabbing a fork and doing like a little corner, giving it a shot.
Right.
Yeah, typically
so
that icing,
dry? Yeah,
like that buttercream icing, it's usually good for a day or so.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say nobody takes care of it. It's Wednesday. There's not one, because if there's one piece, you're not touching it, because then you're responsible for the trash.
The cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say there's, quarter of a sheet cake left on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
You're now 44 hours into this cake being in the break room. Are you still eating it?
I think at that point, no.
Okay.
If it's refrigerated, though, I don't know why I'm debating. Yes, of course. This isn't an option for me. This is a fact.
What now regarding this free table, before we get back to, again, I don't want to lose sight of what we were doing. Right. We're talking about where you got me this incredibly kind gift.
Yeah.
Regarding the free table, do you think the whole office kind of side eyes the rich monkey poop throwers if they're ever kind of walking past the free table? Like, do they kind of have to, if they ever grab something off the free table, do they have to like tuck it under their shirt so nobody's judging them?
Right. Again, the rich monkey poop throwers.
Yeah, your coworkers.
Yeah. I'm not included in that, right?
Oh, listen, you have the butler, but you don't have the beach house butler.
Yeah, and they have like the pilot, the personal chef.
Sure. And don't even get me started on, the convoy of vehicles, like out of MTV Cribs. So
right, yeah.
You're the layman. You're the layman of the monkey poop throwers. But there's got to be some side eye if somebody's,
probably
poor account executive just walking by getting a cup of water, and they see, one of the rich monkey poop throwers, like tucking a book or something under their shirt. Like, ooh, I'm taking this home with me.
I would assume so. Yeah, I would assume that there's some side eye going on.
Okay.
But we digress. So there's the free table at work. Now, last week we were in the studio and we see one of the shows on our sister station. Mm-hmm. They walk by because we have a window from our studio out into the hallway. They walk by the window and they hold up, like, each of them has like 2 bottles in their hands. Oh, wow. And they're given like the, check it out over there symbol. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So next commercial break, I was like, is there free bottles of liquor somewhere? This is strange.
Right.
So I walked over. Sure enough, there's in the kitchen, there are 8 to 10 cases of like this. But this is
really?
I don't know what size bottle is this. Like, would this be a fifth? I don't know.
It's 750 milliliters. So
okay. So there
absolute idiot.
So there's cases that have either 6 or 8 of those in there.
Jeez.
And there are 8 to 10 cases. Now, it's not all bourbon. There was some vodka. There was some gin, a few other things. So I went out and I saw somebody else that I work with. I was like, what's going on in there? He's like, oh yeah, they're we had to leave we were forced out of our storage unit. And this was in there.
Oh God.
Now granted, it was a indoor climate controlled, like not a U-Haul with a slide up door or anything.
Right.
And I said, okay, cool. So they're just giving it away? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, follow up. Why did we have 8 to 10 cases of liquor in a storage unit? He said, oh, it's left over from the New Year's Eve party.
Okay.
Now, as you well know, New Year's Eve, we were in the throes of COVID.
Yeah.
But New Year's Eve 2019 into 2020, we weren't. So this has been in a storage unit for, let's see, 16 months at this point, 15 months. And for whatever reason, we had to leave. We had to evacuate the storage unit. They brought it all back to the radio station.
Somebody's not paying their bills. And Dave from the A&E show Storage Wars was yelling, "Yup." And he actually saw
I don't
this.
think a lot of people would get that reference,
No,
but I
not.
do, and it's perfect.
Probably not. Yeah, that's all I can think about. But then he actually gets in there and it's like, I don't want any of this crap. Right. He just turns around and leaves it.
Yeah. So yeah, they decided. I mean, to their credit, they said, "Well, let's just give it to the staff."
How about that?
So I went in there and I said, "Oh, my buddy Kyle likes bourbon."
Yeah.
And I grabbed a little bottle of bourbon for you.
Now, was this kind of, I've seen this before, and this happens at work, like paid work outings, and anytime stuff like this happens, were you kind of grossed out because you saw coworkers like jogging down the hallway with 4 bottles of different booze under their arms, like it was the biggest holiday they've ever had in their lives?
Nothing disgusts me more than my coworkers.
It's the way it comes up, right? You realize you work with these people for about 300. Well, what is the working year? 260 days a year, I think.
Yeah, something like that. You figure 50 weeks, five days a week. So yeah.
So for about 258 of those, you're like, hey, they're coworkers. It's fine. It is what it is. But then there's like 2 days a year where, again, there's a giveaway or there's a work outing at the local whatever game place.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize what scumbags you work with. Because it's the people jogging down the hallway who haven't had a drink of gin in 23 years.
Sure.
But there's free gin. So they've got 3 bottles of gin under their arm like they just won the lottery.
Yeah.
And then you go to you're out at the bar for a work outing with a paid tab. And, you know, these people who have never had caviar in their lives. And yet there they are ordering it, like stuffing it in their purses on the way home so they can just have expensive stuff.
The funny thing is, in radio, there's a term that is used that you're probably familiar with, and it's called the prize pig.
Yep.
And a prize pig is somebody who basically sits at home all day listening to every radio station. They know when the giveaways are on every station, every time.
Yeah.
And they just constantly dial up that station or go out to that station's events and try to win because they just want free stuff. And in radio, everyone who works in radio hates the prize pig. Yet when there's free stuff at the radio station, suddenly everyone that works there is a prize pig as well. And it's pathetic.
I don't understand it. I would see it. You know, when I was interning at the radio station there, Steve, and I would do the Griffins night stuff at the local hockey team.
The AHL affiliate.
I would see like people, you know, begging for this 8-year-old CD of Saliva. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And the keychains and all of this crap that you wouldn't gift anybody. You don't want it yourself, but people are like knocking each other over for junk. And you've been to enough, you know, live back when you were able to do those, Steve, the live events, you know, cell phone stores, car dealerships, you know, the motorcycle shop, whatever, that you probably had people that you'd be like, oh, you know, there's so-and-so, they're coming up because they knew I'd be here and they knew I'd have this stupid table of crap that we're giving away, and they're here to get another T-shirt from a concert we hosted 4 years ago.
Every one of them, I just want to say to them, like, are you sure?
Yeah, like
do you really? Because me, I wouldn't say I'm a minimalist.
Yeah,
but I just don't like. I don't like accumulating a lot of crap. I can't stand when I walk into like a room in the basement and there's just boxes and boxes of crap in there, and I don't know what's in them. Because my first reaction is, I don't know what's in that. I just want to throw it out because obviously I'm not going to miss it.
Yeah.
And if I do, like 6 months from now, if I think to myself, hey, I wonder where that shirt was, I'll just buy a new shirt.
Exactly.
But like, there's nothing that I have in storage. There's nothing that I have that's worth putting in a storage unit and paying to keep there.
No. And unless it's this crazy memento or something crazy valuable, it's idiotic. So I don't know where people store that stuff that they're getting from the radio station table, or why the radio station even has it. I remember when I worked there, and it might still be there, Steve, there was like a mail bin size, like big white rectangular shape, and it was filled with letter openers for one radio station. And it was like an outdated logo. There was just nothing to do with them because it was an old logo, and again, it's a letter opener.
Right. And they said, like, it's groovy on the side of it or something.
Right. Just absurd. Like, and yet they're there. And I'm sure at some point somebody was like, hey, start bringing these out to the local giveaways.
Right.
And, all the idiot sheep will pick up these letter openers, and act like they're God's greatest gift they've ever received.
Yep. But hey, I hope you enjoy your bottle of beer barrel bourbon.
Oh, I can't wait. Maybe we crack it next week, Steve. We have a couple of drinks together there next weekend. What do you think?
Can you bring the like all the things that we need in order to properly?
You mean cups and ice?
Enjoy it. Well, aren't there like fancy cups and like round ice or something?
Well, I mean, I can bring a couple of glasses, but your typical your drink glasses would normally work for it just as well. And I mean, I can bring some round ice if you'd like.
I
can pour a couple of.
Actually,
okay.
I would like some round ice.
I'll bring the round ice. I'll forget to put it in the freezer, so we'll just leave it on the table and then watch it melt. I think that's pretty.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Perfect. Steve, we have waited a while this episode, but I need to get to. We had a few upsets, a lot of votes. It's time. We need to recap this week in poll badness.
Yes, we do. So for that, we will go to our friend Melissa Vaughn.
No, we have.
No. I'm so sorry.
Fighter's Desire.
You've got to be a fighter.
That's right. It's the music. It's everybody amped.
All right, here goes.
If you want to be the best, you got to be a fighter. If you want to be the best, you got to show desire. If you want to be the best, you got to be a fighter.
All right. What do we got? We're down to the Elite Eight, right?
Steve, we are down to the Elite Eight. You'll be able to find these on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram throughout the week. Couple each day going up at Steve and Kyle. Please vote. We're down to the Elite Eight. So, Steve, to quickly recap the round 3 matchups, a few upsets, but boy, oh boy, we need to talk about a runaway. The 11 seed. What are Frisbee people referred to as? Frizzers or Frisboers or Frisbos? 89% of the vote defeating. Is the packing peanut industry still around? Absolutely wiped away. So the 11 seed, what are Frisbee people referred to as? Making the Elite Eight. Cinderella, still alive. We'll go over the Elite Eight matchups that, again, you'll be able to find on social media. Are the only people who agree with Steve on polls sheep, dumb people, and dickheads that defeated? Does the hard hat go over or under the cowboy hat in a real nail biter? 51% of the vote, Steve. That moves on to the Elite Eight.
Okay.
To take on, now that coronavirus is dominating the headlines, are the Sharks making their move? Which one in another nail biter, narrowly defeating, do they make boxing gloves for shark fins? 51.2% of the vote.
I still get mad when I hear that.
I do too. The fact that it made the Sweet 16 actually made me upset because I loved that poll.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, if you look at the actual poll in the picture in the contest, you can see that this was one where listeners decided, well, no, that's absurd.
You're just silly. What a dumb question.
That is your first matchup in the Elite Eight. Your second matchup, will there inevitably be a war on the Zach with armies led by Steve and the Frisboers?
Frisboers making a strong showing in the Elite Eight.
A lot of love Yeah, a lot of love for frisbowers, though,
Yeah.
and the idea of frisbowing. That defeated, has anyone willingly eaten a Salisbury steak in the last 15 years? That won with 69% of the vote. That moves on to the Elite Eight to take on a juggernaut, an absolute juggernaut that should have been a 1 seed. And this, the Decision Den will learn from their mistakes. Is Sonny Bono the godfather of the ski tree incident? The number 2 seed that won its matchup against Steve. I'm sorry, you've been eliminated. Is Steve the nutmeg of the side gig?
Oh man, it was a good run. What was
won that
what,
matchup? 72% of the vote.
What seeding was the nutmeg one?
You were a 6 seed.
Okay, all right. So I made it pretty deep into the
not bad. Tournament. So that matchup again, will there inevitably be a war on the Zach with armies led by Steve and the Frisbowers taking on is Sonny Bono, the godfather of the ski tree incident. Moving on to the Elite Eight, does this podcast end with a slip and fall lawsuit?
Still say yes.
Making a pretty good run there. That won its matchup with 57% of the vote. That defeated Do You Tip an Elevator Operator After Successful Elevation? That's an upset, Steve. That's an 8 seed advancing against the number 4 seed.
Yeah.
That will take on to move on to its matchup against another really upstart poll that has been torching its opponents. Is the Good and Plenty, the Edmund Fitzgerald of the candy world, which won its matchup against is Turning the Hat Backward on Your Ride, an official passing of the scoot torch. 62% of the vote, Steve, voted for the Good and Plenty, so that moves on. An 8 seed and a 7 seed moving on there into the Elite Eight. And making our final matchup into the Elite Eight. Moving on, the last bastion for the number 1 overall seeds. It's the juggernaut of the tournament so far in terms of it's been a 1 seed. It's won consistently. It hasn't really been that close. Were the Apostles known for chiseling the word boobs into rocks? That one was 70.5% of its vote, and that defeated Are You Related to Your Spouse?
Yeah.
And that will go on to take on the last stand for Cinderella, Steve. The number 11 seed, what are Frisbee people referred to as? Oh, wait. I read it backwards. Sorry. This is taking on what are Frisbee people referred to as frizzers or frisbows, which won with 90% of the vote this week. So your Elite Eight matchups there. They are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Steve and Kyle. So be sure to vote this week as we move on to the Final Four next week. Wrap this March Poll Badness tournament up in the middle of May.
We still got a couple more weeks. I mean, why not stretch this out as long as we possibly can?
Had a realization last night. I believe I texted you after I texted you, hey, the matchups are all set. So for you to kind of get the graphics ready. Hey, next year, why don't we just cap it at 32?
Yeah. I think it was the day that I was sitting here posting 32 individual polls to all of our social media that I thought, I think next year we got to scale it back a bit, maybe just a bit.
But the thing is, we got the hard work out that first week. That first week sucked so bad.
Yeah,
and then every week since then has been
consistently easier. Yeah,
your work so easy.
Workload's cut in half.
Oh, so nice.
And I don't like spamming people with that much.
That was a lot.
Much stuff. It was a little too much.
That was a lot, and we had a poll last week, but no sense in recapping that because it's ridiculous and not worth anybody's time.
Okay, I don't even remember what it was.
Well, we don't need to talk about it because our listeners are as Poll Badness has confirmed.
Hold on.
Our listeners
piqued my interest.
Are sheep, dickheads, and dumb people. So.
Well, now I need to know. Let's see where.
It might have. I mean, who knows? It might have been erased. You know how Twitter works, and things get deleted.
Oh boy!
And
look
go
at
missing.
That. I think I found it from April 3rd. It was. Hold on. Well, we can't recap last week's polls without now. Melissa Vaughn, thank you very much. Please speak now.
Time to see how wrong everyone else is. It's poll recap time. Find the polls at Steve and Kyle on Twitter.
And on Facebook now too.
Yeah, boy. Look at that. I mean, I just looked at the time, Steve.
No. Look, we got plenty of time.
I mean, we're at like an hour and 50 minutes.
No, that's
Just
not accurate.
Way too long. Time to hit the road. Thanks everybody for listening.
Last week on the polls, what do you prefer? Number one choice, the choice A is the Reese's peanut butter egg. Choice 2, the Cadbury cream egg. Me representing Team Peanut Butter Cup. You representing Team Cadbury cream egg. It was a runaway. Absolute runaway. 76.1% of the vote. Reese's peanut butter egg.
It's just ridiculous. It's a Reese's peanut butter cup in a different shape, people.
Right.
It
and
sucks.
It's excellent.
It's fine.
No,
it's fine.
It's amazing.
But as a novelty treat, the
Reese's
Cadbury
nailed
cream
it.
egg,
Reese's
nice,
absolutely nailed it.
Oh, that 8-inch milk chocolate egg as you bite into it, and that nice white cream. Oh my God. It's a seasonal delight. So to see it lose to just your run-of-the-mill, it's a peanut butter cup with a different stamp in the factory is offensive.
The fact that you can't grasp that
stupid.
anything Reese's makes is tier 1, I'll say tier 0. It is the bar. It is what everyone else tries to be.
I'll say this. As a condiment and as a peanut butter, tier 1 most overrated.
That might be the most offensive thing you've ever said.
Yeah. Well, it's on the poll, and I can't wait to see. I'm sure this one will go fine. What go wrong? But I really thought that since we started posting these, before people listen, and so they couldn't associate the poll answer with me, that they would start to get evened out. But somehow these listeners have caught on. They seem to know. And it seems that I am constantly losing.
Yeah. Well, that's just because you're always wrong. You always have the wrong opinion.
That'll be on the poll this week as well. Is peanut butter tier 1 most overrated?
No, definitely not. Should we discuss the text that I had to send you the other night? On Friday?
Boy.
Do we have time? We have time, right?
I mean, if you want to get into it, sure.
I kind of do. I had sent you a text hold on, I want to pull up the actual text. Oh yeah, is on I think Friday at 3:48 p.m. Katie
That's
working?
the one.
Question mark?
Yeah. Which is never a good sign because
because
Katie is a nurse, as we talked about. So it's not a good sign if somebody's asking, hey, is she at the hospital?
Right, because chances are I'm not just sending you a text to say like, hey, can she get me some syringes?
Right. Or like, hey, what's her work schedule like? I just was thinking.
Oh, cool. All right, well, see you later.
Yeah, have a good day.
So you said no, at home, anything we can help with? I said, I then sent you a picture. I said, I might be paying her coworkers a visit, and it's a picture of my hand wrapped with a paper towel and then wrapped with a bunch of black tape.
Yeah. Yeah. Or around your thumb on your left hand.
Yeah.
And I just said, oh no. Because it didn't look good. I'm guessing you kind of scoped out the situation. You probably left it unwrapped, right? Whatever happened, you left it unwrapped for a minute to see how your body kind of reacts to it.
No.
And then realized, okay, I've got to wrap this up.
No, because I stabbed myself so hard right in the spot. I mean, like right in between your thumb and your index finger. There's kind of like that. It's almost like webbing. I stabbed myself so hard with like the sharpest knife I've ever owned.
That's a bad spot to do it.
It went right in there. And I immediately said, this is bad.
Oh,
no.
Was it a poke or was it a slice?
It was a stab. Here's what I was doing. Something very stupid. And as I was doing it, I thought to myself, this is stupid. You're going to stab. Oh, there we go. You've stabbed yourself. I had a tube of caulk.
Okay.
And you know how like if you don't use all the caulk, the tip, what's ever in there, it hardens and it gets
Sure. You got to kind of
it's
carve
clogged.
it out.
Well, I had a knife in my right hand, tube of caulk. Here, let's see.
Sure.
Well, I'm gonna have to kind of hold it because it's very difficult for me to use that
Yeah.
thumb at this point. I'm taking a
Show and
knife,
tell.
and pushing it in through the end of the tube, which is the dumbest thing pretty sure I've ever done. And again, said to myself, you're going to stab yourself. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, this is going to end poorly.
That knife is now in your hand. So
you didn't think about using, a flathead screwdriver?
Now's not really the time for Monday morning quarterbacking this, I don't think.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. Hey,
sure.
in hindsight,
I apologize.
In hindsight, I just wouldn't have stabbed myself.
Yeah. No, Steve, to recap, if you had the choice to go back to Friday night, would you have chosen to poke yourself in the hand with a knife?
I'm going to say no. Probably.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah. So I stabbed myself. Again, this is 4 in the afternoon, 3:45 in the afternoon. Evelyn is down for her nap. Annette is not home. And she was out running some errands. And so this happened. I was out in the garage. Luckily, I had a roll of paper towels sitting right next to me. I said, oh, no.
Oh, God.
Immediately grabbed a paper towel, wrapped it around my thumb, and just cranked down with the pressure. Because they always say, if you're bleeding, apply pressure. Applied pressure. And kind of sat there for a minute, like, okay, all right, this is bad. But I was moving the thumb still. I was like, all right, I can still move it. I can still feel. I haven't lost feeling yet. So that's a good sign. But I hadn't even looked at it yet because I didn't know if it was bad. So I removed.
So you were avoiding the obvious.
I didn't want to pass out in my garage with Annette. I didn't want Annette to pull into the garage a half hour later and like run me over because
just your body, flat on the garage floor. Right. I mean,
so I grabbed my phone and I called her and I was like, "Hey, where are you?" She's like, "Oh, I'm just stopping here." "Oh, okay, cool. You gonna be home soon?" Probably not for half hour, 45 minutes. And I was like, "I think you need to come home now because I need to go to the emergency room." And she said, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, I just stabbed myself really, really badly. And this is this could be bad. Could be a bad scenario."
This one, I haven't checked the damage, but let's say there's some danger involved.
So she was like, "Okay, well, I am on my way home now," but she was at earliest 20 minutes away. So she's like, "All right, I'm making a U-turn now, coming home." So in the meantime, I'm freaking out. I'm like, all right, am I getting lightheaded? I don't know. Is it just me? Do I just think
you can't tell? So you're like, maybe I'm hot. Maybe I'm sweaty. Maybe that's what it is. Rationalizing it.
So I did what any right-thinking person would do.
Yep.
And still sitting there with the phone in my hand, not, just doing voice to text.
Yep.
Text my good buddy, my neighbor, Justin.
Oh, good. What was Justin going to do for you today?
I'll tell you exactly what Justin was going to do for me today, because he was he was a fantastic person.
Sure.
I sent him a text saying, "Any chance you can pop outside for a minute? Somewhat of an emergency, but not really."
Okay. So, boy, weird phrasing there. Any chance you could? Emergency. Nah.
Not really. I mean, maybe it could be an emergency.
Okay. So you've gone like full Midwesterner since you've now moved here. We're like, hey, it's bad, but if you can assist me, save my life, no big deal. Just let me know. Someone will be here tomorrow, maybe, and then they can save my hand.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say within 15 seconds. Now, again, I'm in the garage. The garage door is open. Within 15 seconds, I see him halfway across his front lawn.
Is he like jogging?
Not jogging, but he had a spring in his step.
To say, boy, he would care more than me. I'd be like, hey, let me finish this taco and then hit the John, because then I'm worried about, well, do I need to, should I go pack something? Am I going away? Do I need my wallet? All of this stuff.
So he's got understandably, a look of concern on his face. I'm standing there gripping my thumb. Very concerned look on my face, no doubt.
Yeah.
And he's like,
probably a little white because you have some blood aversion issues.
So he's like, what's going on? And I was like, cut my hand real bad. I could use some help getting this thing wrapped, because I'm afraid to take the paper towel off, because I'm going to need 2 hands to do this. But I think that if I take it off and get like hit in the face with a jet stream of blood.
Yeah, you've poked something that is now pouring out like a faucet. That's a concern. I get it.
He's like, yep, no problem. All right. So we're standing there in the garage. I take a paper towel. I like fold it up nicely instead of just haphazardly like I had it. He grabbed a roll of electrical tape out of the cabinet. He's like, all right, no problem here. So in having to remove the one paper towel to put the other one on it, I got a good look at it, and it was a legitimate crater in my thumb where this knife had gone in. And shockingly, it wasn't like spraying blood, but
okay.
But when I looked at it, within like the 3 seconds I was looking at it, the little cavern in my thumb filled up with blood. So I was like, okay, I know it's coming. Wrapped a paper towel around it. He wrapped some tape around it. And I was like, thank you, man. I apologize for having to do that, but I'm kind of freaking out. He's like,
right,
it's cool. No problem. Is Annette home? I was like, no, she's not home. So I'm just going to sit here in the garage and wait for her. So he hung out with me for a couple minutes until I had
to make sure you didn't fall over.
Exactly. Until I had calmed down a bit, because again, I was pretty concerned.
Sure.
But finally adrenaline stops pumping. I'm like, all right, I'm good. So Annette got home a few minutes later. And at that point I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go to the ER. She's like, all right. Cause I didn't want her to have to get Evelyn out of bed, get her dressed, all of us truck over to the ER. So, I ended up going to the urgent care instead, and did the whole if you've been to an urgent care in the last year, you know that it's a pain in the ass. You got to pull up out front. You got to call them. They ask you,
and everything takes longer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, being that your wife is in the medical field, I would assume that if I walked into her ER, she knows exactly what to do. She's got the whole process. She's like, all right, here's what we got to do. We got to this, that. Probably got a checklist of 10 things.
Yep.
I went into urgent care. First thing they did, all right, well, take the paper towel off. Let's get a look at it. Nurse looks at it. He's like, okay, doctor's going to be in a few minutes. So doctor comes in and he looked it over. He's like, all right, yeah, that's he actually said, wow, that's deep.
Oh, good. So
I was like,
okay, so you weren't wrong in
no. Because I did say to him, I was like, all right, so I'm not stupid to have come in. And he looked at me and he just said, no. That was the dumbest question I've ever received, which actually made me feel better. Made me feel like I didn't get a scratch and run to urgent care. And so he was like, all right, yeah, it's he's like, it definitely needs stitches, but the spot that it is, it's not a good spot for stitches. They'll pull out.
Man, please tell me your other option is like glue.
They filled it with some kind of glue.
Seriously?
Well, he said, he's like, these are liquid stitches. No, it's not super glue. Everyone thinks it's super glue, but it's not. Sure. He's like, you put it in there, it causes the blood to clot, which will eventually seal the wound.
Okay.
I was like, all right, cool. So he did that. Stings a little bit, but no more than like peroxide on a cut.
Okay.
And so he's got it all done, and then he just he taps on it. And he's like, all right, just make sure to keep this thing clean and dry for the next 2 days. And as he did that, I realized, oh boy, I couldn't feel that. Like when he taps on it. I said to him, I was like, I couldn't feel that. And he goes, really? I was like, yeah.
Oh boy.
Now I still have full range of motion. I can move it, no problem. I can feel the tip of my thumb, the side of my thumb, but there's this one spot on the top of it, about a postage stamp size, no feeling whatsoever. It's
no.
exactly the same as when you're at the dentist and you get Novocaine. Like, you can feel that someone's tapping on your cheek.
Yeah,
but
you're just like poking it.
But you can't actually feel it, if that makes any sense.
Oh, wow. So, okay.
So at that point, he's like, well, you didn't cut the main vessel or whatever, the blood vessel, because if you did, you wouldn't be able to feel the tip of your thumb, and you'd have discoloration in your fingernail, and that looks fine.
Yeah.
You can feel this. I'm like, yep. And then he goes, you probably just nicked a nerve. I'm sure it'll heal up.
Oh, good. Well, if he's going to be, super lackadaisical about it, why shouldn't you, Steve?
So, I mean, at this point, I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, if I go the rest of my life without being able to feel a postage stamp size portion of my thumb, I'd say I got out of this all right. I could have cut my thumb off.
Oh, wow.
So then he said, all right, the nurse will be back in a minute to bandage you, to put some gauze on it, to wrap it up, and then you'll be out of here. I'm like, cool. Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
Oh.
So it was like 25 minutes later that the nurse came back in, and he hands me some paperwork, like the aftercare instructions.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, you're ready to go. You just go out this way and check out at the desk. And I was like, it's not wrapped. And I'm like,
yeah.
But I don't know why in that situation. I'm like, oh, I can't say anything. So I was like, okay, see you later. And walk out with this gash on my thumb. No wrap, no gauze, nothing. And get in the car and drive home. As I'm driving home, I'm thinking, like, that was weird, right? They didn't wrap it up, and I don't know, something just feels like something's missing. And then I thought about it, and I was like, they didn't clean it.
Oh, they didn't like spray peroxide on it or anything like that. Okay.
No, nothing like that. Now look, okay, that's why I brought up your wife's profession. I would like you to either play this for her or run my experience by her and see what she says. Because if she says
should have been cleaned,
if she says no, that's common practice. We give them an antibiotic, which they did. I picked up an antibiotic at Walgreens for the next week. He said it's 4 pills a day, 7 days, and he specifically said take every one of them. Okay, no problem.
Good.
Now he did say that the cut was super clean because, again, the sharpest knife I've ever owned.
Ah, perfect. Look at that. You're rewarded.
I know. So I don't know if that was the experience I should have had. Luckily, I haven't had to do that often.
Right.
But I don't know. I always felt like, well, the first thing they're going to do is like take one of those little bottles with the little straw on it and like spray it all out and get it nice and clean. But yeah, that didn't happen. And those liquid stitches held for about 6 hours and then they popped. And so now I just have a bunch of Band-Aids and tape and everything. And
we had still bleeding through?
That's the thing. It never really bled a lot. If I take the gauze or the Band-Aid off, I'm sure that there's going to be a red spot on the back of it, but it never bled as much as I thought it would from being stabbed by myself. Right. So I don't know. We put a little new skin on it last night. That didn't seem to do a whole lot. So I'm just going to keep a Band-Aid on it and ignore it and hope that it just heals.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that feeling will come back. I'm sure nothing could go wrong with this plan.
I thought that I had really, really hurt myself.
Well,
really
I think you'll be back in that camp once you start receiving your bills from your visit to the urgent care center.
I can't imagine how much it's going to cost me.
I can't wait. Keep the itemized list for me so we can go down what they charged you for the super glue.
Oh my God.
The doctor said wasn't super glue.
It was definitely not super glue. It had a little bottle that said Elmer's. Are you sure about that, Doc? You sure?
Oh. Well, the problem is, Steve, he didn't use the super glue. That's why it popped out so quick. He just used the regular Elmer's, and he had a dumb horse that came from it. So that it came from. So that's why it popped out so quick. You know what? Congrats. The kitchen sounds like it's coming along great.
It is. It's been done for a long time.
Oh, very nice. DI DI Steve coming through in the clutch with only one hospital-worthy wound.
Look, the grout on that kitchen tile has been done for upwards of 12 hours.
Hey,
We finished at 12:30 this morning.
Oh God, your life has seemed miserable the last few weeks.
Hasn't been great. I've turned this into a 3-weekend project.
Yeah, when I came over to your house last week to record the podcast, you said you were up until 10:30 the night before. You put in 10 plus hours doing just tile work, and there was still a decent way to go.
There were still 6 feet of backsplash to go at that point.
Yeah, so I am firmly entrenched in team cut the check, going for everything.
You know, we thought of it last night because that probably would have been a couple $1,000 job.
Yeah,
and I think it cost us maybe $300.
Okay,
so I feel good about that.
Right,
but it sucked.
Plus all the bonding you guys were able to have while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, as the history has shown, Steve and Annette doing projects together never ends in one of them in tears.
Now, look, Annette hadn't, I had done all of the work up until last night.
Okay.
And then it came time to grout. And she was like, all right, well, once we put Evelyn to bed, I can help grout.
Sure.
And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do this. And she did. And it went off without a hitch. Shockingly.
Sure.
We didn't get in an argument. We didn't yell at each other. We didn't complain. It took us 4 hours or so, but we did it, and we love how it looks.
I just feel like there's this now unspoken truce of when there's going to be a DIY thing. Either she will work on what she can work on, or you will work on what you can separately, still stemming from the time you made her weep while carrying drywall at your own best residence, which I'm sorry, it's totally unfair. And I'm sure in the moment, a super unpleasant time. I can't help but laugh every time I think of you yelling at your wife. Drywall down the stairs.
We weren't even engaged. We'd been dating 6 months at that point.
It's one of my favorite Steve and Kyle podcast nostalgia stories, and there's no reason for it. It's ridiculous. It's something that is unpleasant in your relationship's memory, yet makes me laugh. The fact that you made your wife or your girlfriend / fiance at that time cry about carrying drywall down the steps, and has now led to, again, the unspoken bond where you refuse to work together on home projects.
Yeah, we've definitely felt each other out on this, and we know it's why don't we just do our own thing.
But last night mended the fences in the name of grout. That is great to hear.
Well, if she hadn't offered to help, I'd still be doing it. I would have gotten maybe half of it done last night and then given up and
working on it today.
Working on it today. So
awful. So
there you go. There's an update from my world. Hopefully, as you hear the music start rolling, hopefully next week we will once again be reunited. We can share do you call it a pull on this bottle of bourbon?
I mean, I would only call it a pull if you're going to drink off of the bottle like a slob.
You don't do that with bourbon?
Listen, I wouldn't recommend it, and I also wouldn't. I wouldn't look at you the same if you did.
Okay, all right. Well, next week then we will drink like sophisticated gentlemen.
That's right.
Some of this storage unit bourbon.
Pinkies and noses to the sky while we drink it.
No other way. Other way.
Hey, everybody, make sure you get your votes in. The Elite Eight, it's all posted throughout the week here. Steve and Kyle on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, you can also vote in the polls that we did today on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook back in the fray.
That's right. Melissa Vaughn might have to reach out and have her say 2 more words for us we can update our audio imaging.
Yeah, do you think we'll have to pay for that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're not going to be doing that.
I don't think we're friendly enough that she'll toss in 2 words pro bono.
All right. Facebook and Twitter at Steve and Kyle. Also Instagram at Steve and Kyle if you want to vote on the polls.
Yep.
And we will talk to you next week.
See ya.